The field looked perfect on Monday. By Friday, the whole block was gone. That is not a rare story. That is what happens when a grower misses 3 specific windows. And here is the brutal truth. None of these 3 killers announce themselves. They hide inside the decisions that look like the right ones. A paddock irrigated on the wrong day. A fungicide skipped by 72 hours. A deficiency diagnosed by eye instead of by a lab. Each one invisible until the yield loss is already locked in. Mistake 1. Here is the mistake that looks like discipline. You built a schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, set it on the controller and trusted it, and the crop is showing stress anyway. Leaf roll in the afternoon, yield dragging behind where it should be at this growth stage. The University of Nebraska Lincoln Extension is direct on this. Crops need water based on evapotranspiration demand, not the calendar. Here is what is happening at the root level. When a crop hits even mild water stress during grain fill, just 2 to 3 days of deficit, the plant starts pulling water from the developing grain to protect the flag leaf. The grain shrivels from the inside while the canopy still looks acceptable from the road. You will not see the damage until the header runs and the screenings come back wrong at the weighbridge. Get a soil moisture probe. A basic capacitance probe costs under $80 and read it before every irrigation event. Target the refill point before the crop hits stress, not after. For most grain crops in dry heat, not twice a week, every 48 hours. Mistake 2. This is the one that destroys yields, not under inputs, not poor variety selection. This one timing error, repeated across one wet season, can cost a grower more than every other mistake on this list combined. In wheat and barley, the critical fungicide window for stripe rust and septoria is flag leaf emergence, BBCH growth stage 37 to 39. The fungicide protects the tissue that fills the grain. The GRDC fungicide decision guide states this plainly. A fungicide applied 4 days after infection has significantly reduced efficacy compared to one applied at or before infection. 4 days. That is not a large margin. 3 consecutive wet days at flag leaf is your trigger. Not a visible lesion on the upper canopy. 3 wet days at flag leaf and the spray rig should already be moving. Here is the part most growers miss. By the time you see stripe rust climbing the upper canopy with the naked eye, the infection on the flag leaf is already 10 to 14 days old. The window is gone. You are now doing damage control, not protection, and no fungicide rate on the label will recover what those 14 days already cost you in grain weight. Mistake 3. The paddock has a pale patch. The leaves are yellowing at the tip. You have seen it before. Looks like sulfur, maybe manganese on the sandier rise. You reach for the product you used last time and you apply it at $25 per hectare across the affected area. Here is the problem. Zinc deficiency, sulfur deficiency, and manganese toxicity can look almost identical in the early growth stage on a visual inspection. Sulfur deficiency and nitrogen deficiency can present nearly the same way in a cold, wet spring. And in a high pH soil, applying manganese to fix what is actually iron chlorosis does absolutely nothing, while your application cost has already cleared. Iowa State University Extension confirms visual symptom diagnosis for micronutrient disorders in cereals has an accuracy below 60% without a supporting soil or tissue test. You are calling a coin flip a certainty and spending real money on it. There is a second layer to this mistake that costs even more. When you apply the wrong product and the patch does not respond, now you have 2 inputs on a problem that neither of them was designed to fix, and the real deficiency is still running unchecked while the crop moves through its fastest growth window. The fix is a $12 tissue test sent to a lab before you open the chemical shed. Pull samples from symptomatic plants and healthy plants side by side. Label them separately and send them together. The contrast between the 2 samples tells the lab exactly what element is missing and at what severity. That result arrives in 48 to 72 hours. The crop can wait 48 hours. What it cannot survive is 4 weeks of the wrong product applied with full confidence. 3 killers, every one of them invisible until the loss is already locked in. Irrigation timing based on demand, not a schedule. Fungicide precision down to a 72-hour window, and diagnostic accuracy before you spend $1 on inputs. These are not exotic problems. They are the decisions that happen on every farm, in every season, and they are the difference between a grower who builds equity and one who wonders where the margin went. If this gave you something useful, subscribe. And that one grower in your district who keeps having a rough season, send them this video. It might be the thing that finally turns it around for them.